And now I have this brilliant question of like, can we ever transcend that duality of Shiva and Shakti in Tantra? And this question came, I just made a video, so you can watch that, go and watch the other video. I'm having a conversation with someone in our men's training, Tao Tantric Arts for Men, and they're going through practices and then questions are coming up. And I think the questions are so great. I was like, I'm going to make this into a video and put it out on my platform. So that's where it's coming from. So the question is, can we transcend the duality? Can we transcend Shiva and Shakti? Am I going to do my tantric practice and reach this place? And here's the answer that I gave, which is we can't become whole because we already are. We are that wholeness, like the Tao, whatever you want to call it, God, consciousness, like source. We are the wholeness, but we're looking into a mirror, a magical mirror called human existence, magical mirror in which everything appears in duality. It's phenomenal. But who is looking in the mirror is already whole. So you are the wholeness experiencing the split. Don't ask me why, okay? Like, I don't know why we don't just like live and bask in the joy of our unitedness. But this is how life is, okay? I didn't set it up. I just peered very deeply into it for many, many years. And so in this mirror, we see duality, we see separation, and we see light and dark and sun and moon and all these things. But there's also a very painful part, which is separation. Separation is a state of forgetting where we become identified with part of the duality. And it's that identification that causes suffering, not pain, but suffering. We suffer when we're identified with one piece of the play, and therefore we become separate from another. So you might be a man, you become identified being a man, you are judging you're a woman because she's over emotional or whatever, like something separate from you, and you create separation and you go into suffering. Right? It could be that, it could be any suffering. I'm just giving an example. But any separation, you have an argument with your beloved, you are judging someone with a different political view, you're attacking someone on Facebook. It's like we put ourselves in a state of separation, we create suffering for ourselves and sometimes for the other person too. There are people creating suffering for like the entire planet. So we create suffering, and suffering is the result of the state of separation, which is ultimately an illusion, but it's a very persistent one, and we're experiencing it. It makes us sick, it makes us unhappy, and we do want to heal it. So we came here to heal the illusion of separation. It's not enough to just go, oh, it's just an illusion. It's not enough. It's very dissatisfying to just come to that philosophical conclusion. You are driven to heal, and you are meant to be. We're driven to heal this state of separation through love. Love is the medicine. As I spoke about in my last video, we need the open heart in order to unite opposites back together again. So you cannot heal separation without love. So can we transcend Shiva and Shakti? Back to this question. Can we transcend it? We cannot transcend it because it doesn't need to be transcended, but we can remember. I'd rather use the word remember than transcend. We can remember the union. That's divine union in Tantra. It's a remembering. So that might happen that you're meditating, watching your breath, and as you watch, you merge so deeply consciousness and breath that you enter into a state of union. And that is a remembering, like you remember. I don't even want to use the word God because that can be dualized with goddess, as we do in Tantra, Shiva and Shakti. Beyond God and goddess, beyond yin and yang, beyond Shiva and Shakti, there is the Tao, the one, the source. And I once had a near-death experience and I saw, oh wow, the other side, the origin is the source of all of existence, source of all love. So when you have a moment of union, you remember the source. It's like you remember who you truly are because you are source. The illusion for a moment is like shattered. For a moment, it's just gone, dissolved. You remember the source, and the source is love. So you remember, I am love. We are all love. Wow, love is. It's a beautiful experience. The Satori, the spiritual experience, the divine union. It's a fantastic experience. And it is still an experience. And the definition of an experience is it comes and it goes. It is not eternal. And sometimes we're like, oh, that experience was so amazing. How do I get back to it? Will I transcend permanently? I want a permanent experience. Can you imagine walking around in this permanent experience of like oneness? They would probably put you into a mental home. We're not meant to have a permanent experience. Experiences are So think of these, it might be meditating on your breath, you might be an ecstatic dance, you dissolve so fully into the dance that you become one. You might be making love, my favorite form of all, making love with your beloved, hearts are open, looking in each other's eyes, sexual energy is flowing fully, you dissolve into the infinite together, and together you remember who you are. That's even more amazing. I love that one. Remembering who we are as we make love together, divine union in union, phenomenal. And it's an experience. You might get up from that and argue about the washing up. It can happen. You know, you might step out of your meditation satori and you've got a parking fine on your car and you're like, fuck you. You go, boom, straight back into that state of separation. You're not immune from it. Of course, we want to be immune from it. So how do we do that? The answer is integration. It is not a permanent state of transcendental bliss that we are looking for. We are understanding those moments of bliss, divine union, as a remembrance, as an opportunity to remember who we are. But you can also become addicted to that, become an experienced junkie, a satori addict, you know, like people who drink ayahuasca every weekend, just like, get me back there. Do not become addicted to the experience. You're just plummeting back into the illusion. I know it's so tricky, isn't it? It's so tricky. But you are getting back into the illusion. What do you do then? The answer, my dear ones, is integration. Many people even say healing is integration, integration is healing. I love this word integration. It sounds so small sometimes. You know, integration, that's having a couple of days rest after a retreat. No, it is not. Integration is the weaving of the absolute mind-boggling reality that you are love itself into the absolute mundane reality of truth that you have to do your accounting and do your washing up and that you will die, that, you know, this everyday reality. We're merging those through integrating them. How do we integrate? Well, I particularly like Taoist practice here more than tantric, because the Taoists are so into this. When you raise sexual energy and you bring it up to the crown, in that moment of the crown, you are like merging with all it is. Your orgasm, your full body orgasm is merging back with the infinite universe. You remember, oh my God, I am that, we are that, we're all one. You're in this beautiful experience. And we don't stop there in Taoism. You then bring it down through the front of the microcosmic orbit, if you like, or the front of the chakras, to the abdominal area, to the lower dantian, the center. It's actually not just like, let's bring it to the navel, but like your center of gravity. Between your navel and your sacrum is the center of your gravity. And we spiral the energy into that center of gravity, and we find this still point at the center of our being. And we merge all the energy that's moving with the stillness at the core of it. And that is how we do integration energetically in Taoism. And that's why I teach Tao Tantric Arts. Even though I love so much about Tantra, this is the main reason I teach Tao Tantric Arts, is over just pure Tantra, is because of this integrative practice. Because I can see that even people who do the most amazing Tantric practices, just Tantric practices, can get addicted to the satori, the orgasm, the peak experience. The peak experience is a glimpse. It's a moment where you remember, but remembering is not enough. You've got to become. You've got to become an everyday reality. And so that is why we want to integrate the peak experience into the everyday reality, into the center. Your center is they call it the immortal body in Taoism. It's the part of you never born, never die. And it is like the eternal that is watching itself. And so we're merging the mirror and that is watching the mirror. It's even different from, like, in the mirror, you've got like yin and yang, male and female, dark and light. You've got sex and spirit. You've got those dualities merging in the mirror. But then we merge the person looking in the mirror with what's in the mirror. That's the final integration, if that makes sense. That's a final integration, is to even let go of the attachment to the peak experience. It's like in Advaita Vedanta, they'd say, who is having the peak experience. It's one way, but the Taoists do it energetically. Let's like spiral that energy in and find that still point. Dantian, the center of the center, the center of the center, the center of the center. There's a light that never ends, shining in the center, a light that never ends. Beautiful song. The center of the center, the light that never ends. And I refer here to Lao Tzu, the greatest Taoist master, because Lao Tzu means like the old guy, and he was humble. He wasn't some great Guruji sitting up high wearing his robes. He was walking around his garden. He was humble. He wasn't even really speaking, but people would go and walk alongside him because in his presence their suffering dissolved. Why did they awaken in his presence? Because he had integrated it. He was the integration of the peak experience and the humble everyday reality. He had integrated it and embodied it so deeply. He no longer needed to chase the peak experience. He no longer needed to meditate. He no longer needed to go and make love into divine union. He just simply was God living itself. And so people would go and walk alongside him in the gardens, and in that they would find their suffering eased because they're in the presence of the truth, and their own truth can awaken in that presence. And so aim to be a Lao Tzu, aim to be the old guy, the humble guy, the ordinariness, the ordinariness that knows itself. That's just simply in love with life, love itself, because that is your true nature and the illusion of separation is gone. And this is it. Rather than seeking transcending, for sure seek those experiences. If you're still in the mundane, then seek the experiences and have the full body orgasm. And what could be better than making love with your beloved and seeing each other as divine? Go for it. But don't get attached to those. Come back to yourself. Keep coming back to yourself. Don't lose yourself in the peak experience. You get lost in the mirror again. Keep coming back to yourself. And there, my dear ones, you can integrate. You will integrate. That is beyond transcending. It's a transcending of the transcending. A good way to do it is to, after making love, meditate. Sit back to back with your partner so you're not even lost in each other, and just meditate. Learn the Taoist sexual arts. Learn how to spiral your energy into the center. Come home to yourself continuously, because it is all pointing us home. Thank you for asking.